Okay, full disclosure before this video begins. Mackmyra sent me this for free, but it doesn't mean I need to like it. Hello and welcome to the Whisky Trials. Today I'm going to be reviewing Mackmyra Brukswhisky. This was sent to me by the Mackmyra distillery. And I've pretty much gone through the whole bottle. As you'll see when I open it up, I've pretty much done the full journey with this bad boy. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Mackmyra distillery. It was thought about in 1998, and 1999 I think was when they sort of put the plans into action. The reason normally I don't talk about distilleries too much, but the reason I thought I would talk about Mackmyra is that they're quite an interesting distillery. You know, it was just put together by some engineering pals, and one of the interesting of many things is that they have built the distillery, or tried to do the whole distillation as carbon neutral as possible. So their carbon footprint is really low. So they've got this thing, I'm not quite sure how it works, but it's a gravity distillery, a gravity-fed distillery. So I'm guessing that the way that they do things, they don't need to pump it around. You imagine these big pumps that move everything around the distilleries are obviously quite electricity hungry. So being able to do things with gravity means that you save on all that kind of power. And I saw a picture recently of I don't know if it was the actual distillery or if it was the warehouse. And it's like, just, you can almost not see it in the forest. It's got forest all the way around it. The footprint's quite kind of small. It's got like a sort of dirt path coming into it, a dirt track. And I guess it's got like sort of turfed roofs and all that kind of thing, because it really blends in really nicely. So they're obviously trying to be quite eco-friendly with everything. And I think that can be said about the packaging as well, although I will get to something about that in a minute. Another interesting thing about Mackmyra is that their main warehouse is an old mine. So when you go down into this, it's definitely on my list. I'd love to visit it, because you go down 50 metres below the surface, and there's these 3 big bunkers, essentially, filled with Mackmyra whisky, and others I presume as well. One of the other interesting things is that they, I think, invented or first built the 30-litre barrel, because of the first distillery, the first distillate that they made was quite a small one. It was always 30 litres that they would come out with. So rather than having to mix all these different distillates into one bigger cask, they started putting it into these small 30-litre Swedish oak whisky casks. And that's one of the other things as well, is that they use Swedish oak, which, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, it doesn't have the sweetness that the American oak has. So it lacks those kind of those charred vanilla kind of notes. So when you char it, it brings out the sweetness, obviously, and it lacks those vanilla notes that you might get from an American oak cask. But what it does have is it's got more kind of nuttiness, and oh God, what else was it? I forget now. I'm gonna stick them up here, I think, because the Swedish oak cask is well renowned for a certain set of tastes. But when they sent me this bottle, I really wanted to hate it, and it's kind of because I'm a big Scotch fan, and you see what's happening over in Japan is that they're essentially replicating Scotch. They're trying to be another Scotch whisky thing. And, you know, they might be doing a great job, but they're essentially just copycats. And being Scottish, proud to be Scottish and proud to support my local kind of produce, I'm very passionate about Scotch. So when somebody else makes a whisky, I can be fairly critical about it. If you've seen some of my past videos, not that keen on Irish whisky, not had too many good ones. I know there is nice ones out there. I just not really expanded into that area. I find them a little bit more simplistic than Scotch, so not as favourable for me. So yeah, I did want to immediately dislike this, and yeah, it took me on a bit of a journey, this bottle, which I'll get into. But first off, since the Mackmyra are so trying to be environmentally friendly and reduce their carbon footprint, I thought I'd do the same. So I thought I'd build up a little bit of a thirst and dig in some tatties. So hold on, I'm going to dig these tatties in. Right, that's the whole dug. We'll get the tatties in. Potatoes are in. Garden skills. Okay, let's do a Brukswhisky review, shall we? Okay, digging tatties is hard work, but a well-deserved dram in hand. So, before I was talking about how Mackmyra seemed to be, you know, quite carbon neutral and ecologically friendly, and you can kind of see that. It's just a very kind of plain cardboard box, you know, not too much of the sort of paintwork on it, which probably involves glues and paints and solvents and all that kind of stuff. But, let's put this back here. But, the one weird thing about this, and I don't know, there's potentially an argument here, what's more eco-friendly? Is it cork, or is it that? See that? There we go. Plastic. Feels like plastic, a rubbery plastic stuff. Now, is that more ecologically friendly than cork? I don't know. I guess cork comes from, I don't know, what does cork come from? Is it trees? So, you know, it might be that this is a recycled plastic or rubber that is potentially more ecologically friendly. Who knows? But yeah, nice wooden top on it, and the little Mackmyra symbol. I guess that's some kind of weird writing. Stick that back on. Okay, so in general though, I really like the branding. I like a plain kind of cardboard box. I'm not so bothered about the cardboard boxes. I do like that kind of plain look. I like the new Aaron branding as well, that kind of slightly muted, more plain kind of tones. But it's got some good artwork on the bottle. Oak leaves and buildings. Obviously this has got something to do with Mackmyra. I guess it's maybe the distillery. So yeah, it's got some nice little dimples shaped into the bottom of the glass. The bottle feels quite nice in the hand as well. It's not a particularly long one, it's a slightly stumpier one, which I kind of like, you know, it's like the Ep30. So, Mackmyra, Swedish whiskey. Let's have a chat about it. So this Mackmyra Brukswhisky is 41.4% to start off with, which a bit weird, a little bit strange. Give us 43, give us 46, 41.4. Not quite sure what that's about. It's because is it just giving us that little bit extra, but you know, not quite what we want. Does that extra 1.4 make a difference? I'd like to know who decides on these percentages. You see a few weird ones. I think Brukswhisky do a weird one where it's 45.8 or something, and it's like, is that intentional? Is there science behind that? Is there a tasting? Is it better at 41.4 than it is at 43? And who decides that? I guess the master blender. But it's interesting stuff. I'd like to know that kind of stuff. So this Brukswhisky, I went through a bit of a journey with it, and it was a weird one because it started off very much like I kind of likened it to an old Pulteney, but it had some smells in it that I'm not getting now. So I'll put this down just now, and I'm going to refer to my notes, which I have in my pocket here, and they go thusly. So this was the neck pour, and when I say that I went on a journey with this bottle, it's good to understand that this was the neck pour, because it did change a bit. So the neck pour, I was saying, it's woody, banana, zesty lime, coconut, peaches and cream, estery, there's pollen, a floral note, dry rotted wood as well, earthy and mossy with vanilla as well. Now, this was amazing to me. I was like, oh wow, this is doing great things. I was like, I'm kind of overwhelmed with that. And I'm going to move on to the taste before I actually taste this, just because it's my nose. Because what's on the neck pour is different from what I'll get now. So on the taste, on the palate, I'm saying light, tangy, refreshing, light sweet pepper, bitter cocoa, leads on to more sour wood flavour, reminds me of the combined taste smell of a summer woodland. You know, when you're in a summer woodland and you've got that mossy, earthy, trees, pollen, all that kind of stuff going on. It was like that. And like I said, it kind of reminds me of Old Pulteney a bit. The pepper builds for a few minutes, and then it started to change. So that was the kind of neck pour over, and I poured myself another one, and I carried on the notes, and it just got so sour, really bitter, really sour, and it really stayed like there was a sweetness to it as well, which would linger a little bit, but it seemed to be dominated by this bitterness and sourness for a while. It was so strange. It was almost like biting into an orange with the peel on, and you get that kind of bitter taste to it. The slight sweetness there as well, but an overwhelming bitterness. And that summed it up. Like the next nip was just like bitter, 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 and I was like, this is changing. I was like, I think I just need to leave it and give it some airtime. And I gave it some airtime, and let me tell you, it really changed. And now it's settled down. So after that neck pour and a couple other pours, if you've got this bottle, have the neck pour by all means, but then give it a little bit of air the next few pours. Just leave it alone a little bit. Get a bit of air in the bottle maybe as well. Take a couple more nips, you'll find the sourness, but leave a bit of air in the bottle, and it's gonna come good. So let's just dive into what I'm getting on the nose just now. So I'm still getting the kind of peaches and cream feel. Some sort of tropical fruits as well sneaking in there, pineapple. But the big thing for me, banana. This is like all about the banana for me, this Brukswhisky. It's got banana on the nose, and I'll tell you now, it's got banana on the taste as well. It's not like a real banana. It's like those foamy banana sweets you used to get as a kid, which I know is going to really split opinions. Some people are going to hate it, but I really like it. I really like those banana sweets, so I'm a fan already. But it is quite light. There is citrus notes there. quite grassy as well, but like a sweet grass. Yeah, it's almost got like a farm, not a manure kind of smell, but a farm, like a wheat farm. When you're walking through wheat fields. But to me, this screams like a summery kind of whiskey. It's definitely one that you could have on a sunny day, having a cocktail with it, or out at the barbecue. Banana! Man, it's so banana-ish. Like, I love this. I love this because of the bananas. I said on quite a few videos ago, I said if I can find a whiskey that's got that banana flavour in it, I'm going to totally love it and shout about it. And Penderyn's got it a little bit, and this has got it too. So I suppose I should be shouting about it. The one thing that I've come to realise though is that the banana kind of flavour, for me, denotes or smacks of a younger whiskey, which isn't always bad. You know, young whiskies can be supremely tasty as well, but they do sometimes lack that depth and feel that the older whiskies can bring. But it's interesting on the nose. It's really nice. Definitely think it's a summer one, and it's been a lovely day today, so I'm actually really enjoying this now. It's very light. There's not too much pepper going on, which is slightly strange. There's a little tingle, but the reason I say it's strange is because I think the Swedish oak is well renowned for its pepperiness. But I do know that this Brukswhisky is mixed with a bunch of other stuff as well, so it's not just being matured in Swedish oak. There's other stuff as well, first fill bourbon and sherry and all sorts of stuff going on there. So, but like I said earlier, I want to get back to one of my previous points, is that I kind of wanted to hate this, and it's not because like I'm a mean person, although I am a little bit. But what I'm passionate about is Scotch. I'm Scottish. I like to shop locally. I want to do my bit, and I see this as an amazing product. And you see what Japan are doing in terms of essentially copycatting it. And I kind of thought, well, maybe these guys are doing it as well, because this, I believe, is the first Swedish whiskey. I don't think anybody else is doing it. So that being said, I thought, I'm gonna be quite harsh on this. But I found myself, the more I read about Mackmyra and the more I tasted this, I was like, it's not trying to be Scotch. It's trying to be Swedish whiskey. It's trying to do something completely different, and I totally respect that. And actually, I think any kind of Scotch drinker should, make that separation and not be thinking about it in terms of comparing it to Scotch. It's so different. It's really different. Like I said, the one that I can only compare it to that I've had isn't a Scotch. It's the Welsh whiskey Penderyn, and that had some similar kind of banana notes in it. So, Brukswhisky, it's around £35 to buy in the UK. That's for a 70cl bottle. I believe they do a lot of 50cl stuff as well, but 70cl for a Brukswhisky at 35 quid. It's a difficult one. Again, because I'm a die-hard Scotch fan, I'm thinking, what can I buy for £35? And there's quite a lot out there, and there's a lot of good stuff. For instance, I just had tonight at £25 a Nevis Dew, which is, honestly, it blew me away. I was like, and it's a blend, but it's fantastic. at 25 quid, so I think it's moved into my top filler position. But, 35 quid for an extra fiver, I could get a Glendronach 12. 32 quid normally is Old Pulteney, although it's quite often on a deal. Old Pulteney 12. So there's a lot you can get for that kind of money. But this is something totally different. It's not a Scotch. You don't necessarily need to treat it like a Scotch because they haven't treated it like a Scotch. It's been, a lot of this stuff has been matured in 30-litre casks. They're not bound by the Scotch laws making Scotch. They're doing something completely different. They can do what they like. So, for instance, their peated stuff that they're doing, they're throwing in juniper twigs to add a different kind of smoke flavour. I don't think the Scotch guys could do that or get away with doing that, because if they got found out, the stuff could get taken off the shelves or whatever. I don't know. So, would I say that you should go out and buy it for £35 in the UK? I think so, yeah. I think you should give it a go. Would I buy it again? I don't know, because I'm on this massive Scotch journey, so there's still so much to go out and buy, and it's not like so good that it's like, oh, I have to have one of these on my shelf at all times. It's definitely not that good, but it has been an amazing experience, and it has made me want to explore the other Mackmyras. I do have the Gronte, the tea finished one, which I'll do a review on at some point, and that's a really nice whiskey as well. And it's definitely made me want to look at some of these other spirits that are coming out from other countries, because up until now it's just been I've been thinking about Japanese whiskey. Yeah, that's like a copycat of Scotch. Irish whiskey, they do their own kind of thing, and I'm not necessarily so keen on that. American whiskey, so they're all about the bourbon, and I do like some bourbons, but it's got a definite kind of flavour profile. But Scotch, to me, brings me more depth and more discovery. So, being a diehard Scotch fan, I'm just not sure I could constantly be buying a Brukswhisky and having it on my shelf. Although I have very much enjoyed this, and I do think that every Scotch drinker should at least try it once, and try some of the other bottlings as well. I'll definitely buy from Mackmyra in the future. Probably not the Brukswhisky, but definitely some of the things that come out later on. Maybe if they come out with some age statements too, I think I'll be interested. But it's such a weird one, because being a Scotch fan, I just don't know. I feel like I want to push Scotch all the time, and not necessarily be mean to other spirits, but I'm not necessarily as interested in them. But this has definitely piqued my interest. So, the guys at Mackmyra are obviously doing something right. Yeah, getting a lot of lemon and lime citrusy notes. I think like a pear as well, almost. Like a green skinned fruit. Yeah, definitely pear. So it's got some complexity on the nose for such a young whiskey, I think. I don't think it's particularly old. I think I read somewhere that they do put 5-year-old in it, but I'm pretty sure that there's younger stuff in it too. But definitely an interesting experience. I wonder. I know this is obviously their introductory kind of whiskey, and I think it's a good one because it's versatile. It's a whiskey that you could use in different ways, I think. But it's got enough interest there for me on the nose to keep smelling it. I'm a person that'll just sit with the nose under my glass for 5-10 minutes or longer before I take a sip. I'm I'm probably about 65-70% about the smell, and then the rest about the taste. So it's definitely got enough there, smell-wise, to keep me interested. And the journey in the bottle, like I said, was a very interesting one. So yeah, 35 quid. Go out, spend that 35 buck, and give it a little bash and see what you think, and get back to me on the comments, because I'd be interested to see what people think, because I think this one could potentially split opinions a little bit. But it's a decent introduction for the range. Having tried the Gronte as well, I think that's another kind of step up. I think I would have liked to see this at like at least 43, but maybe 46, and that would have been like a real, here we are guys, a massive introduction, like let's do this. But I suppose what the 41.4 is we're different. We're not 43, we're not 46, because we're not Scotch. And they're definitely not Scotch. They are Swedish whiskey. And I salute them. Cheers.